Hi everyone, it's Adrian Leah. This is another channeled message video. I have some things to say about the specific visions and travels that I've done. And this video is associated with Virgo since I'm flowing through the days, months, and signs. Welcome, Virgo. Welcome if you have Virgo in another part of your chart. Uh, and welcome if you're another sign. So, one of the longer, deeper travel experiences that I've had is the one with the Demon Slayer video. And it was like 2 days after I received more visions. Um, and I was thinking about it because I was thinking, is it more of something that just is because of what the last travel experience was, where I saw like light in a doorway and then something walking, and then there was another being on like across, and I didn't know who the being was, but um, it came up very as if I was just there. So I was seeing maybe if other visions would associate with that. I haven't gotten anything specific with it. So there's the grandfather figure, and I this figure is here, is there. It does um, his own um, travels. He travels to different places too, and one place specifically was one that had a larger, more rundown doorway, but still like it was standing. Um, I saw the grandfather figure a couple times and looked like he was traveling somewhere more. He was traveling to a place that wasn't very safe, um, and definitely looked preoccupied, but didn't mention anything at first. And I see this doorway, and for some reason, I was saying, like, to not conceal and to reveal what was there. So behind the doorway were, like, these demonic things. And I was like, oh, it's not good. And it was coming up again, like with the Spanish Inquisition. And it felt like it was one of those areas where it was property of the Vatican. Some areas are like that since they have some unusual occurrences there. So this place was one of them and is still one of them. So the grandfather figure, because it looked like he was doing some healing too, but his palms were so as if like they were more scorched than mine, because when I did it, when I sent the what I was getting, because those are the only words that I got, the Holy Spirit that came out. My palms scorched when I sent it. His palms were like this, as if he was doing it on. He was like continuously sending out like the healing energy. And at that, by the time I asked about it, and it looked like he was just sitting down, and I asked why he didn't ask for help. And then he told me, because you're just a child. Um, because I felt that there was sadness when I had that last reading where he appointed that spirit team. Um, and he felt bad that I did that. And then, yeah, I put out my hand and I said I would help. And so he said, we're going on another mission. And these missions, do I know the full intent of them? I don't know the full intent. I'm just following directions, but I'm sure there is a reason for it. It was interesting before this, and I have mentioned this before, when I lived in my childhood home, the main one, and there was that one spirit at the been in my closet. Because the timelines, that I just kind of jumped it, but the timelines don't match exactly, but I suppose it doesn't matter, because when the being told me that you'll be able to fly if you jump out this window, and I see the grandfather figure like pull me back, and I thought that was specific, and I wonder if there were timelines that just kind of did their own thing there. So the next mission, I was asking, so who is going on this mission? So he is going on the mission, and his wife is going on the mission. And I was like, I know her. I've seen her before. She's actually the first being that came to me for these specific messages. And um, I saw her on Christmas as soon as I woke up, because I get a lot of visions when I'm about to wake up, like as when I'm sleeping and my body is like about to wake up. And direct vision of the figure wearing a cloak, but clearly she was she wanted it known who she was, so there wasn't necessarily anything hiding with that. And then his daughter, and I thought, hmm, another person living. And he said yes, and that it would be, and I asked, like, does she know? And then he said, in a way, but it would be good for her to see where to get the light to. So that was another thing of, what are we retrieving here? And he said, we're retrieving light. And it's interesting, we're getting these things in these darker places, as if they were taken, or they were taken, and they're being um, found and cleansed and rejuvenated. So, as I say that, the first, what looked like another stone of light, but it was different, because he picked it out of, like, because this is an area where they kept people too. It, it was like in a pile of corpses. And he was saying, like, you're here to cleanse them. So I did. And when I did, it was like it turned lighter and it moved like the speed of light, like it was quickly moving, and it kind of makes sense too with the Gemini season. As I say, it has been coming up a lot with the energy. Um, but it instead of like a stone, it lightened, it turned more orb-like in a way. And it was definitely gentle. And so that was the first piece of light. And this grandfather figure is adamant that there's more light there. So um, he's definitely continuing to search there too, and I'll definitely help. Um, I wasn't using the cloak that the Ascended Master gave me, so I gave it to the grandfather figure. I felt like it would have been more beneficial. So, or for him, and those were the main parts of the channel messages. So now I'm going into the reading. And as I say that, the card that came out reversed as I looked at the deck when I was taking it out of the pouch is the Six of Swords. And it looks like kind of what's happening there. And it links to the travels that I have done recently. Um, let's see. And since it's reversed, it just feels like there's still things to be found. So I just feel like there's specific things that have happened over the years. Like I didn't mention it in readings necessarily, but I had the bottom of the deck is also the Five of Earth. So it does go with the reading too. I brought the Angel Tarot out. Here surrounding money, the wisdom to accept help from others, uncertain self-employment. With this one, the Five of Pentacles or Five of Earth relates to not having something. So with the Six of Swords being like we're going through these different types of travels with, I guess, different senses because I'm not going in like this. So that's that retrieval energy. But I had private Russian lessons when I was younger, and it was on Skype, and she would just teach me Russian. And so it wasn't until the end of this weekend when I was taking that IELTS test that's mandatory for moving to the UK. I did get a native speaker score. So I didn't look at the Ukrainian alphabet before because there were some gaps for me because I was listening to these words, but I didn't see where the sounds were coming from. There's some sounds, well, I wasn't getting at this, but some of them are in the Russian alphabet, but some of them are changed. And one of the words, or one of the sounds is like the um, E sound, but they say it's like the E and me. I feel like if I had an English accent, it would link more to that. And then the example was like, I think it was soap, where it was MELO, and then my voice is trying to make that type of sound. So it's one that is definitely foreign, like Milo. Um, and I like the different examples that they give. Um, Another one is like the G sound, like I believe that's what it is. And it's the ye and yeast. And then they were saying like yeesha. Um, there's other ones I'm still thinking how I would even make that sound. So it makes it interesting. And I still can't roll my R's, so I don't know. Maybe at some point it'll just come up, and then some of the pronunciations or like even the O, you hear the slight variation. Like it's more of like a deeper O than it is in the U.S. like English language. I don't think you call it necessarily that, but something like that. Or the guess sound, and then they gave like the example of the g and goat, and then it was like gone. So it's been fun to look at the different words, and it does piece together a lot better now that I see the 33 letters instead of just going off of like the Russian alphabet. So I feel like it's more of a thing to do. Such an opposite thing. I was just reading the Five of Earth and the Nine of Earth because this one is saying uncertain self-employment, and then the Nine of Earth is saying enjoying life's little luxuries, spending quiet time alone, successful self-employment. So it does feel like there is a movement there, but it also is underneath like that obstacle position, but I'm not getting it as a bad thing because what we're given is something that I'm getting malleable. something that's malleable, something that can be used. And there's another word like that. I have to hear or see if there's like something that happens to the letters when they're together, because some of them, like even of course in the English language, some of them change depending on the context of what it is referring to and if it's in a certain part of the word. Um, well, I know the vet, the vet, it was, the pronunciation looked like it said WE, but then the example was V in vine, and that one changes depending on the context too. If it is labial before back vowels and labiodental before front vowels. But that wasn't what I was getting at, because there's the word, I think it's house, DEM, and the way that it looks, or the way that the sounds are and how it's spelled, I feel like it would be team, but it sounds like it's more of like a J or even a Z, but there's already Z, like Z into, and that one, the example um, is it Zalizo? And because for me, it sounds like Zim, or instead of how I think it would be pronounced, but maybe something changes there. I don't know what happened to this card, but it looks like it got bent a little bit, but it's the Dreamer, the Fool card. And this one, A Leap of Faith, Follow Your Dreams, Unexpected Opportunities. And that comes after what could be associated with the obstacle card, the Nine of Earth, the Nine of Pentacles. Because we have the Five of Earth, uncertainty, and then that successful. How to turn things around with it. I feel like this is a really, like a validating reading in a way. Because the Fool definitely has like a go with the flow type of energy. And the Fool traditionally has like somebody or their dog that, like, some cards depict it as like a dog, like kind of just prancing along, enjoying the journey with their owner or with the person that they're traveling with. And then other times it looks like the dog is like pulling on their owner's garment, because traditionally, like, you also see a cliff too, like the Fool is going off a cliff, and that's kind of like the leap of faith that the Fool takes. With the Seven of Cups, it does look like there's direction here because, and it could be divine guidance too, if you want to believe it like that. And again, even the mushrooms stand out, but it does feel like it is more of like that mental mindset or even visions that you get, or those types of vision quests that the Native Americans talk about. And this is a card that comes up frequently for these readings. So the chevrons are here, and the chevrons are pointing up. So if if that's not um, super clear, like the chevrons are like arrows, and since it's pointing up, it kind of reminds me of the rune symbol Tyr, which is also associated with divine guidance too. And there's clouds in this picture, and it does have like a celestial type of background. I feel like this is a good sign with the Three of Cups, because this Three of Cups, it looks like, or I'm getting, my feelings are that um, everyone's like on the same page. Like there's an awareness of what's going on, how we're doing it, what's the game plan, what are we doing, what are we not doing, Adrian, and um, just like a go team type of thing. There's also a song that came out recently, and it's the Rise Against song. Maybe you might like the song. It's Prayer of the Refugee. And with the Wheel of Fortune, it feels like when this happens, we could do this. It kind of feels like plans A through Z. And honestly, it kind of feels like thinking about the things that can happen and what are we going to do to alter that course, to get us back on the course that we're supposed to be on. What's interesting about this Fool journey is that I feel like this Fool, and it's not that surprising that it does feel like this Fool is more of a planner, because we do have Virgo energy that is associated with this reading. And Virgo energy is, even though this is the Wands, to, I'm getting Earth, because Virgo is an Earth sign, and it's one that stays consistent and one that doesn't really go off the beaten path, also associated with the Knight of Pentacles. It's more of a focused, more studious, because I would say the Page of Pentacles tends to be more like a studious card, because this is like, I graduated, or I'm working in this area and I have that 9 to 5. And there's that sense of structure. So you have like different people in the group, and definitely having the things that they do. I feel like there's an energy specifically curating this or making sure that we do have plans A through Z because sometimes that just winging it energy can get stressful. This is another card that comes up a lot too, the Seven of Fire. Defend your beliefs and decisions, stand your ground, choose your battles wisely. It was, there's one thing that's coming up. It's like, I used to have this colleague that I worked with, and um, well, she worked there before I started working there, and or at the pharmacy, um, and so we had this one patient, and she was trying to argue about something with us, and I was looking at my colleague, and I was like, clearly she's wrong, and then she's like, about the patient, she's not worth it. And then she just like gave the patient what she asked us to do, or she did what the patient asked us to do. We weren't getting any freebies out, but um, just to appease the situation. And she was also You're the Horse with me too, because I was born near the horse. No, I wasn't born near. I don't know why I said horse. Wow. I was born near the dog, and she is born near the dog. I don't know why I said horse. I'm so sorry. Maybe there's some relevance with it, but I felt that that was noticeable with the class that I would be in terms of like um, at least with us, it looked like our friend groups were more loyal to each other. Like there was that type of foundation there. With the You're the Dog, um, it's kind of what you would associate, like the characteristics of a dog with the that part of the Chinese zodiac or the Chinese zodiac in general. And there wasn't anything that I was going at with that, but it just felt like I wanted to say that. Oh yeah. I did receive another vision of the bear. I'm not doing more of those types of visions and travels, but sometimes the vision comes up and it was strange because it was like the original before going down under because it was like a corpse being eaten by like parasites, but these aren't like regular parasites. They're like I guess spiritual or not good on the darker side type of parasites. With this card, it's still getting to put your mind at ease too. Because with the grandfather energy, that was like one of the things that he said to not worry. There was a Two of Wands from the Universal Folk Tarot, and there's the Three of Wands from the Slavic Legends Tarot. And I also did a thing. I got two decks because it's obviously hard to find decks in this room. I got them because that's what I was, well, I'm always shopping, but I was on Etsy and I saw these decks because it was on one of the pages that I go on to see different types of usually self-published or out-of-print decks. Over the years, they've been coming out with more decks. It's noticeable because it's not like they didn't have decks when I first started reading, but when I first started reading, it was definitely more taboo. And so now it's like more accepted, I would say, in some cases. But um I did lose my train of thought, I'm sorry. Oh, so the decks that I got, there one of them, it came up randomly because I wasn't expecting it, but there was like the Glory to Ukraine tarot, and that's where it was like the message from the grandfather figure. Glory to the heroes, glory to Ukraine. And I'm excited for that because the deck was created by people that were in the bomb shelters. And so I didn't see all the cards. I didn't see most of the cards. But there were like two cards specifically, like especially with that Holy Spirit image, the vision that I got. That's what I saw. And that statue where there were so many crowded, it was like so crowded that you could barely walk on the streets. Like that statue was there too. Um, it just like kind of connects the dots for things, which is fun. And I feel like it could be a nice deck to work with for these types of readings. The other deck, mm, Sun, this Sunflower Field Tarot, and that one, it is the images are from the south of or southern Ukraine, and there's sunflowers there on the cards. So I thought I would enjoy working with that one. I had it shipped to my godmother's, and I'll receive it this weekend. I also made some other purchases because, well, I didn't make them all at once. I was actually looking for a backpack because I dropped my deck in the parking lot and I didn't want to drop any more things. Um, Luckily, this is a decent area and you don't really have too much going on here. But I did get a backpack. It's a leather backpack and I'm really excited about it. I think I'm going to do like a video talking about the different things that I bought from the Ukrainian Etsy sellers because my contribution is buying stuff and it's not that hard for me to do. So I bought some things and I bought my backpack there. And that one got shipped, but it got shipped to my parents' house because I wasn't sure if I needed a signature or not. So I didn't really want to ask my godmother to like pick up the package because I would feel bad. And there's just other things. Oh, my other package came, but I don't have it because my parents didn't send that Buckland Romani tarot yet. But I was waiting because I have other things, but they don't know I have other packages going there. Let me just pull from this deck too. And as I was saying, like with the Knight of Pentacles energy, I didn't turn over all the cards, I just turned over the rest of the cards. I have the Knight of Pentacles in the obstacle position associated with the, well, not associated, well, associated with Virgo, but with that, there is also the Nine of Pentacles from the other deck, the Angel Tarot. The card that I pulled from this deck, technically it just says Angel Card Reading Kit, or actually, oh, actually they're the Archangel Oracle cards. And this is Divine Order. Everything is how it needs to be right now. Look past the illusion and see underlying order. And this is good that it's in the past position too, because the dreamer is how to overcome the obstacle of having both Earth and the obstacle from different decks. That this is air or swords. And the Five of Air, an unwise choice. Learn what you can from this situation. Review everyone's motives. I feel like in the past there was an energy of maybe they're like, it'll be fine if you do this, or um, maybe it seemed like they would be on your team with things, and it turns out that, like, say they're like it's college, and then it's like a group project. I had this reading for Gemini a while back, like a team that isn't really a team that came together, but came together in the end in a way, I suppose, or had to because there was like that project and the different types of personalities and people with that had different careers before. Like I was getting like what an odd group and not like weird or anything, but one was like worked in IT, there's one like a chef, another person that was doing another thing, and somehow they all ended up there. And with this one, it's a little different. It's like someone just wasn't there when you kind of needed them to be there. But I feel like it was the learning curve of being able to rely on yourself and to have these other plans and to um, evaluate the types of people and situations. So, like the group project, and then you ask for their portion or their contribution, and then out of nowhere they're just like, oh, I dropped out of the course last week. And you're like, good to know. So now we're just going to end up booking it because this person is not going to put anything towards this. Also, in the overcoming the obstacle, you have the Ten of Pentacles and the Four of Cups. So that definitely is a confidence boost right there. Because with the Ten of Pentacles, it's already like, um, my, like the owner of the pharmacy wanted me or asked me to stay for a little more than what I was kind of thinking. I mean, it could be like the divine order of things, like just being where it is, but I, it's not like I didn't want to because she's good to me, but it's also like I wasn't completely sure, so I'm definitely gonna try to push it to help her because she hasn't found anybody to work in my place. And she says it usually takes around 3 months for you to be a good compounder, and that's without asking any questions to be able to work on your own. So just because somebody kind of drops out of the squad, honestly, is that too mean to say? I was just gonna say it. Not in a mean way, but I'm just saying that maybe they weren't part of the squad to begin with. So they're not like part of the OG team. And I don't think that that's a term that you use necessarily there, but OG, like in American slang, is original gangster. So it means like the people that were there from like day one or like, I don't know, day 20, like if you weren't there from the beginning, but you were there long enough and you showed that you were down with it. And the person that was just like, that just dropped from the group, they just like weren't it. So I wouldn't even worry about it. The overall energy that is also with how to overcome the obstacle is the Four of Cups. Some people might be kind of surprised or upset or that they discovered this about this person because it's, I feel like it's somebody that you really felt that was like gonna be like that person that was gonna stick around like that, and then they weren't. And this is an energy of like really showing the true intentions because even in the past, it's the Lover's card. And I would say that this could go either way too. And it's not just me being hopeful, but it's because you have so many cards of retrieval. Don't get me wrong, it does still look like there's a person that just wasn't it and like wasn't down with stuff. But there's also another part of the reading where it feels like we're supposed to get our shit back. Because maybe this situation or this person or whatever kind of like screwed it up for the rest of the people. And now we're kind of like picking up the pieces and getting back what's ours. So with this grandfather energy, with him just like going on his missions and, you know, I'll help, like getting this light, it's like it wasn't meant to be there in the first place. It was taken and now it's being taken back to where it needs to go. And then he was like just saying glory to the heroes. So so with the two full cards here, I feel like it goes with Three of Wands because it's extra cards at the top. And then the Fool card from the Angel Tarot. It really leans into um, that discovery, and that looks like a discovery of like a new plant. It kind of reminds me of the cartoon The Witch's Flower, and this flower was kind of taken and put into hiding. But it's different because this flower was like, it had like these properties that you wouldn't be able to control, and they were trying to use it and infuse it with like humans to make them into different types of humans with, I guess, powers. And so the first time around, these teachers or scientists, both that worked at the college, they tried it on one of the students and it didn't go well. So the other student that originally found it and introduced it to these two, well, the professors, took it back into, I guess, the human world and hid it. And then it resurfaced because it blooms like every couple of years. And I feel like that could be lore associated with, what is it? It's a type of flower that when it blooms, it only lasts for a very short amount of time. But it's so tedious to maintain and take care of. And um, it's also found in those types of areas too. One of those type of hidden flowers. Kind of feels like it's like the moonflower or something that is kind of leans onto like the celestial type of or mystical type of name for it. So with that, it kind of feels like once you find it or once like this is retrieved, make sure you know who's getting it, that you know that they're not going to use it for like ill intent or something, like ill will. For some reason, I'm getting like the floodgates for the future, and these are really strong cards to get for your future card too. This is really, this is like divine stuff. And I'm not even trying to push it like that, but this is what it came out with, or what I pulled out. The Hierophant and the World card, both in the Major Arcana, both like really type of solid cards. Not like the Major Arcana isn't already major as it is, but with these two cards, it's like the words that I'm getting are the floodgates opening, which kind of links to like the Spanish Inquisition. But I feel that once the stuff is retrieved, it's going to do something a lot more positive and abundant in that way, but not like in a selfish way. And it feels like it'll be nurturing and kind, and things will be fruitful for that region. Because the Hierophant is associated with the higher calling, that soul mission, if you will, or guidance from the divine. And since I was getting the chevrons in the beginning, linking to the rune tier, it could be that divine guidance of we need to do this, and something about like uprooting this because that could be the discovery with the Fool card. That tree that's growing on a cliff. Stuff is like being heavily exposed right now. And I'll just pull out one more card. No, I won't. Because I don't like ending it like that. I felt like that was such a strong point to end it with, but then the tarot reader is just like, let me just pull out more cards. Because you have the Three of Swords here. I didn't really want to end it on the Three of Swords. But it's also linking to the card, the Divine Order card of everything is how it needs to be right now. Look past the illusion and see underlying order. So it could also be like with the symbol here linking to the Maiden, Mother, and Crone energy. And historically, with paganism being more evident, and in our world before Christianity, there are some traditions of Christianity that come from paganism, which is the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. And I feel like there's a lot of intertwining and a lot of those main messages that are vocalized in different parts of the world in different religions, just needing to be translated and said in another way and said with another story. There's just those relations there. It does lean more into that part of it, like with having faith that things would be okay. And I don't say that lightly either because I wouldn't necessarily call myself super religious, but hmm, the other Ten of Cups, the Four of Cups, and then the Seven of Wands. And I love with the Ten of Cups, there's just like, because it's the light bearers, and then you see all of these lanterns at the top, and it just feels like, are these the lanterns or the light that the grandfather is looking for? Because he's very adamant that they're there and that there's more there. And the Four of Cups is, mm, I was going to, well, I was looking. I have the Three of Cups here, and then it's going into the Four of Cups. The Three of Cups is definitely a card that is, I wouldn't say more favored because it's a card that would be more like an enjoyment of appreciating the people or the um, community or having that joy and laughter of things. But then it can get more serious with the Four of Cups, and it does get into like a more uncomfortable energy. You also have the Four of Swords here from another suit, like a different four. Um, Sometimes I'm late with putting the angel numbers on at the bottom. I mainly use, well, I don't want to say that, but for that one, I really like the angel number website that I use. But in general, when I'm doing references for like my reports for college, there are, I have websites that I go to that I really enjoy. So you have to go for different resources when you're citing them. So that's different. But as for the Angel Number website, I really like that one. The Four of Cups, it really calls you to reevaluate the types of, again, people and emotions that you have and why maybe some of them might be overbearing. There's just something at question. There's some uncertainty, and you do actually have the Four of Cups here because I was thinking like I could have sworn I had the Four of Cups. We have the Four of Cups coming from the Slavic Legends Tarot. And honestly, like that disappointment too. Because with that Three of Cups, it's like really enjoying the time. And now it kind of feels like where are my laughs? Where are the people that are meant to be there for me or person that's meant to be there for me? There's that sudden realization that kind of hits you. It takes kind of an emotional toll in a way because the Three of Cups you see that the figure's surrounded by others, and then the Four of Cups it's on their own, or learning to be on your own after getting out of those settings, and to make sure that you can be independent on or self-reliant, and to be confident when you're relying on yourself. And that is something that it can get tiring, but it's something that is necessary, and that's what comes out of the Seven of Wands. Now I'll just pull out another angel card, and that's it. And this one, brilliant idea, guess your idea is divinely guided. Please take action to bring your idea into fruition. I got this one last night too. And I was just like, I don't particularly have an idea, but thank you. I feel like a lot of my ideas are good ideas. Okay, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in another